Hey, what's up, guys? Johnny Con here, aka Not Such a Conqueror. Today, I wanted to talk about how Catholicism enables weakness. How family members enable weakness amongst each other. Especially if you're of a Hispanic background, you're like the black sheep, or you're into witchy things or satanic things or whatever. Sometimes you'll see that they'll say things like, "Oh, like something about his vibe is a little off," or like, "No me gusta su vibra," like they don't like your vibe or whatever. I'm more like, that's fucking intentional, actually. Um, it enables weakness because they want you to be a good little Catholic boy or a good little Catholic girl. Um, it's kind of weird. It enables like a weird kind of like masculinity, and I can only like speak of it from a Mexican American background or whatever. It's kind of weird because on one hand, Mexican culture is very kind of like macho based. I was kind of raised that way. Like, it's kind of like my mom didn't want me to like grow up like, she wanted me to be strong. But at the same time, it's kind of like the society, like the Catholic society around you, kind of wants you to be like a good little Catholic boy. And I noticed that enables weakness. That sets you up for other kinds of weaknesses. Um, People of authority will see that you're easily molded somehow. Like there's like a template there to take advantage of your willingness to be quote unquote a good little Catholic boy or girl. They'll use that. They'll kind of like that uh, obedience to authority. You know, I've said it before. The Catholic religion is not something that's original to my native land. Mexico. I really think you would have a different scenario today with everything that's going on if the Mexican people embrace the old ways. And I'm not saying the old ways are completely gone. And I say this with the utmost respect. The old ways still live on. They did live on. You'll find traces of the old gods in like the Lady of Guadalupe or other religious, figures. But like I've said this many times, probably like the oldest deity that we have is, and I don't know too much about it. I haven't gotten into her too much, and I say this with a lot of respect, and I say this with pride. But La Santa Muerte has a lot to do with our old culture and our old ways. It's kind of like it's still there, like the warrior culture. You know, the I think the two most popular sports in Mexico are boxing and soccer. You know, when I used to stay in Mexico, I stayed in Mexico for a couple of months. I kind of consider myself a Chicano, but my case is kind of interesting. But I kind of spent like a while over there at my house. I would buy my little beer, my two little beers. That's it. On Friday, drink my Coronas and watch the boxing, the fights or whatever. Then I would spend the other days like a warrior, boxing. I would box in I have like a little gym set up with the heavy bag, and then do a little bit of Tai Chi. But anyways, um, I think that if the Mexican people embrace the old ways, oof, they would be a force to be reckoned with. And I see a lot of racism out there, like just because they're not loudmouth like a lot of you MAGA assholes. Like, do not underestimate like the will of the Mexican people, because they have their pride just like you. You know. And here's another thing. Why? Well, okay, look, this is a rhetorical question in a way, but I'm all like, I hope they see that bowing down to a god that's not even native to our land, to our DNA, to our people, You know, you bow down to the same God that they do. They're the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. And where does that get you? You know, even then, you know, it's kind of like, are they worshiping the same God? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just kind of twisted in my opinion. I just wanted to get that off my chest, you know. But anyways, you know, I love my people regardless. You know, I want to see them thrive. And message to my white friends or whatever. I'm really sorry. I regret the awkwardness of that everything that this country's been going through. I resent the awkwardness. I still, you know, love you guys regardless. You know, my white friends or whatever. You know, let's not look back completely. Let's not forget our roots either. You know what I'm saying? Let's understand each other. You know, let's see that we're not so different from each other. You know, but you know, other than that, though, you know, be a savage motherfucker. All right, you know, whatever you do. All right. This is Johnny Khan, aka Nazi the Conqueror. Peace.